Hello and welcome to The List Makers, a spin-off podcast from The Doctor Who Show. I'm Dave.
And I'm Rob.
And this month our topic comes from listener Steve F747, and the topic is Top 5 Plot Twists.
Yes, I've been thinking about this one all month, Dave, and there are so many in Doctor Who.
There are so very, very many. When I did my Bluesky, just scribble down everything that comes into my mind. Sometimes only one or two come to my mind, and then I sort of start reading through episode lists and finding some others. On this occasion, I filled a pad before even having to think about it, and it was then a case of cutting it down. But it's your turn to go first, Rob, so will you please, Mr. Listmaker, make your list?
I will, and before I start, I'll say, despite what you've just said and what I've just said, that there are so many, I think this could be snaptastic. I just have a feeling in my water, Dave.
Okay. I am less sure. I think there'll be one, but I'm going to just say one this time.
Okay, I'm going to say two.
Okay.
In at number 5, I've got the Stones of Blood. And I've got this here because it starts off, it's a bit occult, and we've got the standing stones, and there's some folk horror down at the village, and then, plot twist, it's now an absurdist alien courtroom drama. And the local swinger is an alien. You know, it's honestly bonkers when you stop and think about that twist, like quite literally in the middle, like zoom, the whole thing's changed. It's quite deliberate. It's a hell of a twist. I've got the Stones of Blood in at 5.
Cool.
In at number 4, I've got Heaven Sent. I think this is neat because it starts off as a gothic solo adventure horror sort of thing, and okay, we're going with that. And then there's this slow realization of the confession dial's mechanics, where the twist is a villain's not appearing, it's just the entire structure, the Doctor's inside, that is causing all of this story to happen as it's happening. I think that's a great twist. I think it's a great payoff.
Yep, nice.
In at number 3, I've got the Ambassadors of Death. This one starts off as like a Quatermass style mystery. We've got these astronauts and they're behaving a bit oddly. What's all that about? Next minute, it's an alien hostage situation, and the villains flip from the aliens, in quotation marks, to the humans who are exploiting fear. I think that's a great plot twist. So it makes number 3. In at number 2, I've got Utopia. We start with this end of the universe refugee mystery, and it's a bit far-fetched. We're in the year 100 trillion or something. I mean, why not make it 200 trillion, Rusty? You know, why not push the boat out? But I digress. Next minute, it's like, oh, wait, shit, it's the Master. And that's a pivot that's quite enormous. And I think we forget now, looking back, that this was the Master returning to Doctor Who, particularly if people discount Scream of the Shalka, which was about 5 years before this, or Curse of Fatal Death about 8 years earlier. I mean, these are things people don't even really think of as real Doctor Who. They're both long periods already, but then you think back to when the Master was in the TV show proper. We're talking a long, long, long way back. So this was a huge moment for the story to pivot on, and for that reason it makes my number 2.
What's your number 1 then, Rob?
In at number 1, Dave, I've got The War Games, and this feels just so right at number 1. I mean, we kick off with this historical piece, this war piece, okay, something seems to be up, we move along a bit, and suddenly, plot twist, oh wow, these are the Time Lords. I mean, surely it's one of the biggest structural rug pulls in the show's history. To be years in, actually on the verge of a third Doctor arriving, and we finally introduce the Doctor's people, seemingly out of nowhere. I mean, who would have been expecting that? I think that's the biggest plot twist in Doctor Who. There, I said it.
Wow, big call.
Thank you.
That's a really strong list, Rob. Some stuff that I want to discuss. One snap.
Okay.
Not a golden snap, though.
Okay. I think I know which one it is.
Okay, write it down and we'll see if you're right.
I have, yes.
Okay, my list. Top 5 plot twists. Number 5, I'm going with the invasion of the dinosaurs.
Oh, good one.
Because this starts off as a story about the dinosaurs invading London, and it seems to be just a sort of a crazy mad scientist doing mad scientist stuff. But suddenly, Sarah is kidnapped, captured, we're not quite sure. She just falls unconscious. She wakes up, she's on a spaceship, and told we left Earth 3 months ago. And that's the plot twist that then progresses on to have the whole plot with Sarah on the spaceship. You then learn that there's this whole fleet of people who have a motive for why the dinosaurs have been brought there, and it's actually not about the dinosaurs at all. It's about a whole different project, Operation Golden Age. And so I think that is a twist that not only means that the story can go for 6 episodes, but it gives a whole meaning to the story and a whole point to the story that goes beyond just, hey kids, we've got some dinosaurs in London.
Yeah, agreed.
Number 4, I'm going with the Armageddon factor. Now, I don't want to be mean, but it's very rare that the Armageddon factor turns up on a top 5 list of anything. But although it's obvious to us now, the twist that a living person, Princess Astra, is actually the 6th segment of the Key to Time is a really interesting and important twist, because it does then set up that for the Doctor and Romana to actually successfully complete their mission that's been going on for a full season, she has to cease to exist. And that enters a whole bunch of moral conundrums. So I think that's a not spoken about, but very good twist.
Agreed, yeah.
Number 3, I just think this is a classic sci-fi twist, and it's the best example of Doctor Who doing it. It's a rare example of Doctor Who doing a time travel twist, and that is, Styles didn't go back and cause the war, you did it yourselves. Which is, of course, from Day of the Daleks. That moment of the time travel paradox, where we realise that what the gorillas are doing is actually fundamentally wrong, and has in fact caused the future that they're trying to escape from, is a really, really interesting one. As we discussed when we did Day of the Daleks on our Gin and TARDIS, it is one that has permeated through a lot of science fiction. Obviously, stuff like Terminator is a really good example of that, but I think it's a really strong one and it's done well.
Good.
Number 2, I have The War Games.
Ah.
Is that the one you expected?
No, I expected Ambassadors of Death.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, I had The War Games, and when I first put this on my list, I particularly had the moment where the Doctor and the War Chief meet, they look at each other, and they clearly recognise each other, and suddenly we've got a whole different twist on what this story is doing. I thought that's a great moment, a great twist. The War Chief is actually someone the Doctor knows. That, of course, then goes on to be, and the War Chief is from the Doctor's home planet. He's one of the Doctor's people. But before then, as I thought about it, I thought, we've already had that plot twist where we think this is going to be a World War I story, and suddenly General Smythe has got a piece of alien technology in his office. What's that about? And then we have the moment of, well, something weird's going on in World War I, but hang on, there's Roman soldiers coming over the hill towards us. What's that all about? And then you go forward to, and things have got so out of hand that the Doctor has to call in the Time Lords. And I just thought, this entire story, because Malcolm Hulke and Terence Dicks are such good writers, is just every couple of episodes a whole new plot twist, and that is why you can get 10 episodes without it ever flagging.
Yeah, great point there. Yep.
Number 1, it is a favourite of mine, and it is the moment that we discover in the Time Meddler that the monk has a TARDIS. It is just a show-changing plot twist. We knew weird things were going on, we knew something was up with this monk, but the idea that he is one of the Doctor's own people from later on in that planet's history, because he's got a new sexy Type 4 TARDIS, not an old clapped-out one like the Doctor, and the Doctor left long before the monk did. But just this idea that somebody else has a TARDIS, I think, changes the mythology, it changes the show, and it sets up a lot of things to come afterwards. So that, for me, was a very obvious and important number 1.
Interesting. Let's kick off with your last 2 in that case. I'm wondering whether the reveal of the Time Lords isn't bigger than the reveal of just one guy with a TARDIS.
I think you don't get the second without the first.
Right. Okay.
I don't think you can do the planet of the Time Lords or the twist of the War Chief being a Time Lord if you haven't already set up that the Doctor comes from a people and there are other Doctors and Time. We're trying to get the word because even in the War Games we're not told other Gallifreyans. At that point, it's Time Lords. In the Time Meddler, it's just the Doctor's own people. So yeah. I mean, let's just say Gallifreyans because we know they're Gallifreyans or Time Lords, whatever. I think that they work brilliantly in tandem because you get the Time Meddler and then you get the War Games, and one builds on the other, and then they build again, from there on in until you get to the Deadly Assassin.
So we learn first that there are other people out there who have TARDISes. They are the Doctor's people. Then we learn who his people are. And it's like a 1-2 punch.
Yeah, I think that works really, really well.
Cool.
As always, Rob, I have a few runners-up. Very tempted, as always, to get the Ark in because I love the Ark and I love that plot twist that it actually is 700 years in the future and the Monoids have taken over. It's such a good plot twist having a different head on the statue that Tim Burton stole it for his remake of Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
I almost had the plot twist of the Daleks turning up in Frontier in Space because we often talk about, oh, well, it's called Of the Daleks. So, of course, the Daleks turn up. This one, we get halfway through episode 6 of a 6-parter and suddenly the Daleks turn up. That really was a big plot twist in its time. And the plot twist that the Doctor is actually the evil one in the face of evil.
Cool. I had some list envy listening to yours because I did have Invasion of the Dinosaurs on my short list. And I still think it's really good, and it was really sort of duking it out with Stones of Blood. Maybe it's just because I've watched Stones of Blood more recently, and it is such a bizarre thing to go from this small town folk horror in the village to suddenly on a spaceship. That's just like a massive plot twist. I'm not saying Invasion of the Dinosaurs isn't, but I don't know, there was just something about it that won the number 5 slot.
No, it's really interesting. We both discussed this a few months ago when we talked about the Stones of Blood as part of our David Fisher monthly episode. The slow unravelling of that plot where you think that it's just crazy druid-type people doing sacrifices and, hang on, no, the Stones are now alive. It's all about the Stones. Like, oh, no, now we know that Vivian Faye has been around for centuries and, oh, well, now we're in hyperspace. Like,
yeah.
Again, it's what a really good Doctor Who writer does. Rather than sort of running out of plot, so just locking the Doctor and his companion up for episode 3, they just find a new plot twist or a new location or a new something to keep energy in the story. And that's what happens really well in your example. And I think, as I said, it's what happens really well in Invasion of the Dinosaurs, where the whole heart of that story isn't, as many people have said, it's not about the dinosaurs wandering London, as cool as that was and as much as that absolutely captured my imagination as a young boy. But the heart of that story is about this bunch of very British middle-class people who are so annoyed with their neighbours that they decide to wipe them all out and start again.
Yeah.
You know, that's just an extraordinary moral tale. The way that it's also done, though, with that sudden cliffhanger of, we left her 3 months ago. Again, we take it for granted now. I mean, I've watched Invasion of the Dinosaurs. I mean, let's face it, I watched it 20 times when I was a kid, never mind 20 times since. So I've watched it a lot. But when you're first watching it, you think this is an adventure in contemporary London with dinosaurs. Suddenly, Sarah goes investigating. There's these weird lights. She collapses. And what? She's on a spaceship 3 months from Earth? Huh? Cliffhanger? Like, that's actually a really cool twist. Like I raised with Princess Astra. I mean, we now take for granted that the list of things the Key to Time was disguised as is a statue and the seal of Kroll's power and some Jethric and Cadufrax. Oh, and the Princess Astra.
Mm.
But I think, like, I can remember being, now that was shown, it was shown the week, I can remember it was shown the weekend, or repeated the weekend of the bicentenary weekend here. So that means I would have been 7.5 when I saw that. Because I can remember watching it just, you know, in between the coverage of the tall ships coming into Sydney Harbour. And as a 7-year-old, I do remember being sort of like, hang on, it's the circle that's been close to the segment. Could it be Astra? Oh, hang on, now it's, wow, I think it's actually going to be Astra. How does that work? That is actually a very cool twist. And I think it's a much more interesting twist than the possible twist at the end, which is never quite made clear, that maybe it was the Black Guardian that sent the Doctor on this quest the whole time.
Yeah.
Because that blow isn't really landed and might not actually even be the intent.
Yeah. You know, when you were describing, in a humorous way, Invasion of the Dinosaurs, like some British people being so annoyed with their neighbours they want to wipe them out, I was thinking, this could so easily be a Douglas Adams plot. Throw in some jokes and suddenly it's Douglas Adams. And yet, Invasion of the Dinosaurs is actually very straight down the line serious.
That's true, actually, yes. If you do take that sort of that twist of, and you're right, it is a very Douglas Adams twist of, and on this planet, people got so upset with people using leaf blowers next door that they decided to wipe them out and start history all over again.
Yeah, like, this is Douglas Adams. But serious. Yeah,
well, it is. I mean, we referenced this last episode of the episode before. Like, that is almost very Golgafrinchian. We're just going to take, like this is the elite third of the Golgafrinchian population that has gone off to get away from the useless third. You expected me to have Ambassadors of Death as your snap. I totally respect why you would have that.
Yeah, I thought, oh, it's your era. You will have seen this a million times. It is a big plot twist. I thought, if any of these, that's going to be the one. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good pick. It could easily have been on my list because you have both the twist that it actually is the British establishment. It's the minister, it's the general that are actually behind the whole conspiracy. That is a big twist. But also the idea that the ambassadors of death are actually just ambassadors is itself a really important twist and one that I think does land very well. Perhaps because there isn't quite a key moment where it all makes sense. Although you do get the Doctor's exchange with the alien captain in episode 6, so maybe, well, look, I could have had it, put it that way.
Yeah, I guess it's a different kind of reveal to, say, my Utopia one, where it's like, he starts regenerating and, bah, it's the Master. That's a twist on a dime, whereas maybe the Ambassadors of Death is a bit more subtle. Yeah,
no, look. The twist in Utopia is one that could absolutely be a real. And I'm sure it is somewhere on various different social media platforms. There is the 30-second reveal of I am the Master. Like, absolutely. And then you go back and you have, well, there have probably been several of those types of twists. I mean, the Deadly Assassin, again, we go into it now knowing that this is a Master story. But if you were watching it at the time and suddenly you see the shrunken corpses, there would have been an audience going, wow, it's the Master. They brought him back. That's really, really cool. The Keeper of Traken, again, same sort of thing. And they sort of, try to do these all the way through the Anley era and they become, more and more absurd until you get to Time Flight. Or the Mark of the Rani, where the Master is a scarecrow in a field for no apparent reason. But, yes.
Great lists here, Dave. I think, as we said, plot twists are such a big part of Doctor Who, and possibly, I would say, in the classic era, they happen more often because you have episodes, you have cliffhangers where some of these things live. It's their domain, whereas in a 45-minute episode of New Who, you can have a twist, you can have multiple twists, but it's not quite the same. It's not structured quite the same.
No, absolutely. And the final point I wanted to make is that both our lists have been really, really classic heavy on this occasion.
Yeah.
And I think that you're right. I think that the cliffhanger format absolutely lends itself to plot twists because that could be a really good moment. Again, I could have had the boss turning out to be a computer. The end of, part 4 of The Green Death to be...
That's just because you like doing the voice.
Because I like doing the voice, that's right. But, that is, again, another example. But I think, as you just sort of intimated, the difference between 42 minutes of television and a default 90 minutes of television, if not 6 episodes and more, is that you've got to have a really good twist to do it well. As I discussed before, and this is a thing that the guys on 500 Year Diary discussed when they did their run of Terrence Dicks stories last year, something that Terrence Dicks and other good writers are very good at is holding back plot twists and revelations and introduction of ideas until part 2 and part 3 and part 4, so that you're always going somewhere. And the example they use is Robot, where, okay, you've got this giant robot doing some weird and bizarre stuff, then you have the plot twist that it's actually collecting pieces for a deadly weapon. Then you have the plot twist that the deadly weapon is being collected by a secret society, and that's what keeps you going all the way through a story, rather than just one idea that goes through and runs out of steam in part 3, so you have to lock everybody up and capture and escape and then get to part 4. I think that's why really good stories do these twists really, really well. But there's no time for that in 42 minutes.
No, exactly right.
But that's been our list. Thank you to Steve F747 for engaging with us, as you frequently do, and sending in that list. As always, if you have a suggestion, email the Doctor Who Show, find us on social media, all the usual ways to get in touch with us. Leave it as a comment on YouTube. We pick all of them up and put in the hat, which I'm shuffling now for next month's list, which is going to be top 5 autobiographies or biographies, courtesy of long-time listener Adrian Stark.
Oh, golly. Okay.
Now, Rob,
they're flashing through my head now as I speak.
Rob, I know you like to do weird and wacky things with these. Can we just agree that Adrian clearly means Doctor Who related? And not your best autobiography of Augustus Caesar.
So I can't have Steve Waugh's autobiography or anything?
No.
Okay.
Although I have got that on my shelf. I've got lots of Steve Waugh's books on my shelf, actually.
Yeah, very good.
No, top 5 biographies or autobiographies sent in by Adrian Stark. Thank you all for listening. We will make some more lists soon. Until then, I've been Dave.
I've been Rob.
And we'll speak then. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.